Hello, everyone. I am Sarah Simon. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. My plans changed. I know last week that I said that I was going to be on vacation and I would be up at our cottage, and so I was going to be taking the week off. But last week, so my Facebook Live was on Tuesday. On Wednesday evening, my uncle, my mom's brother, who was a priest, he passed away at the age of 94. He was almost 95. His birthday's July 1st. So um, he lived such a good life and he was so ready to go that it was sad for us to know that he wouldn't be around anymore. But I was so happy for him because he was so ready to go home to the Lord. And so I decided last weekend not to go up to the cottage because there were things that I just wanted to help my mom with around here. And there were so many things that I've been wanting to do at my house that I haven't found the time to do because with this small business that I have, along with my full time job that's also very busy, things just get put off. And so I've been spending the week doing things that I've been putting off doing. So I cleaned up my guest room, which is also another stamping room for when I have classes. I haven't had a class in there since probably October because when the holidays came, it was like all my wrapping paper came out. And then I put like all my decorations in there when my Christmas decorations were out. And then I swapped them, but I haven't put my Christmas decorations away. And everything just kind of kept getting stacked in there. So thank you, Sarah. So anyway, I spent a lot of time cleaning today. I took care of my car and got the oil changed and some things that had been riding around with in my car for my job for like the last month all got put away in the spots that they were supposed to be put away in. So I did go a little bit into school to do that stuff. Thank you, Sandy. Um, so yeah, it's been a good week. We have the wake on Thursday night and the funeral on Friday. And so that's coming up yet this week. And so I just felt it was better to be home. And since I was home, I'm like, I might as well have my YouTube live since then I don't have to miss a week. So here I am. And it's a good thing that I'm here because Stampin' Up! Yesterday, all of a sudden in the middle of the afternoon, got an email, and this happens every once in a while. And they said that they were offering free shipping. Free shipping is coming up tomorrow on any orders of $75 or more. And it does include things like the prepaid paper pumpkins. So I wanted to bring that, whoops, wrong one. I wanted to bring that up to you because it is tomorrow. And I do have my host code right. Let's see, this way. I do have my host code right there. If you do place an order with me and your order is under $150, I would really appreciate it if you use that code because it helps me to buy all of the prizes that I love to give away. What was my father's name? It was my uncle, and his name was Father Paul. Father Paul Vandenhogen. He was a wonderful man. He was very humble, very giving. He served the Lord for many, many years. And it was. I have to tell you one quick story. My mom, if my mom is on here, she's probably sitting there. Tell him that story. Tell him that story. So on Wednesday of last week, my mom kept saying that Father Paul was getting worse. He was in a nursing home, and they were maybe going to start him on morphine, which that's usually the beginning of the end. And so I just said to her, I'm coming on my lunch break, and I want to at least say goodbye and let him know that I love him one last time. And so I went there on my lunch break. And while I was there, there was a staff member from the nursing home. She's not a nurse, but she works there. She came in and she wanted to know if he wanted any towels. And my mom said, oh, no, I think we're okay. And so she came alongside the bed and she reached down right by him and she just kind of said thank you to him for what he was to her. And also wanted to say, that she loved him. And as she said that, she started to cry. And it was just so touching to see how he touched the lives of the people there. Well, this woman's name was Veronica. So as I'm driving home from the nursing home after I've said my goodbyes, and I'm obviously crying at this point, I'm like, Veronica, she came in there with towels. Veronica, in the story of Jesus, wiped Jesus's face as he was going to the cross. And I told my mom that, and she's like, the day after he died, when they went to go clean out his room, or on Friday, they went to clean out his room, she came in and she said, I hate to ask this. I never asked this, but I just wondered, would there any way that I could have one of his handkerchiefs? I'm like, handkerchiefs. Oh my God, his face. Like I'm just thinking all of these things. And I just think that God gives us these experiences, these Godcidences, I call them, to help us to know that he's really there and that he is with the Lord. And so thank you so much. Yeah, Karen, I never did go back. Never did go on vacation because with my uncle dying, there was so much that had to be done around here. And I wanted to stick around here as well. Oh, the Diocesal Cross. He's in the Green Bay Diocese. So we're in the Green Bay Diocese. So anyhow, that was my Veronica story of Father Paul. So anywho, I wanted to share with you some of the fun mail that I got this last week. So I received this card. Look at that brick embossing folder. I missed that because it retired. This is from Mary Van Domlin. She was thanking me because I picked up some stuff that she was looking for at the used stamp sale since she couldn't get there. Then look at this beauty. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of a glare through my blinds from the sun, but oh gosh, I love the sun coming through. This was from Kathy Miller. Isn't that beautiful? We're going to be using some of this paper today. And then one of my team members and customers, Karen Roofing, sent this sympathy card. And she just put in here, which I just loved, my sympathies on the passing of your uncle. No matter how sick or how old, it's still hard to lose a loved one. And that is so true. I struggled for a couple of days with myself, knowing that I'd never see him again. Um, but I know he's in such a good place. And to see my mom also being okay with that, it's just a blessing. So all right. So that is it for Happy Mail and Stories. Thank you all for sharing and all of you who have sent your sympathies. I really, really appreciate it. So now for some prizes. And guess what? Because I'm technically on vacation and not up at the cottage, but here working, I have all of the envelopes printed. All I have to do is stick these in the envelopes and bring them to the post office tomorrow. And these will go out in the mail tomorrow. So last week we played with that paper piercing. No, I'm patchwork. Piercing patchwork, something like patchwork pieces. Patchwork pieces, that's what it is. And we made this card, which again, the sun coming in through my windows is not doing it any justice. But we made that card. We then played with the Masterfully Made DSP, and we made this card. And then we had our fun fold, which opens up like that. Again, that sun is really, I should probably close my blinds a little, and that was with the inked and tiled or inked botanical paper. So receiving these for commenting. So every time you put a comment in there, I put your name into a drawing, and my winner, I have all the names listed here. Cheryl McClure from Wyoming. You will be getting these in the mail to you later this week. I'll put them in the mail tomorrow. You probably won't get them till the end of the week. And then for sharing. So if you hit the share button that's somewhere on there, or if you share from YouTube, I look at YouTube, I look at my blog, I look at Facebook, I look at all those places. So anywhere that you might share, make sure you indicate. A lot of you have written down that you've shared, and I thank you for that. So receiving a pack of these pastel adhesive back sequins. There's blue, pink, and gold in there. We're actually going to use the pink ones tonight. Let me look, Linda Kester. So Linda is from Kakona, and I have these all ready to go out in the mail for you tomorrow. And then placing an order. So if you place an order between now and next week, Tuesday, when I go live, I will put your name into a drawing as well. and receiving this Courage and Faith stamp set. I love this stamp set. I made a card for my mom to give to somebody. She was going to I don't even know what birthday party it was for Alice. I don't know if it was her 100th. I don't think she's that old. Maybe it was her 90th. But she was going to a birthday party, and then they were doing kind of a celebration of life for her husband as well. And so I used this, "May the Lord bless you and keep you," and used some of these floral images. So receiving this for placing an order last week is Kay Van Efren. So Kay, I have this all ready to, well, I have the envelope ready. I just have to throw that inside of it and I'll be ready to go. All right. Thank you again, all of you, for saying that you're thinking of me and for your prayers and sympathies. I appreciate that a lot. Oh, when I sat down yesterday and started stamping, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, okay, I did masculine cards. We did, some things that had some floral things last time. I need to do something different this week. And so I looked through all my stamp sets and I'm like, I'm going to do animals. I'm going to pick different animal sets that there are, and I'm going to create some cards with that. There are two sets in particular that I've been wanting to use that I hadn't used yet. I actually had to put the stamps together in order to use them. And so that's what we're going to be using today. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to my phone, and I'm going to bring up the DSP. So remember, we still have the sale going on our DSP. That'll go on till the end of the month. So the card that I'm going to be making, I wanted to do something in blues for this card. I don't know why I wanted blues, but I really loved this pattern right here of the DSP for the Let's Go Fishing. It kind of looks like it's denim. And I really loved this line here, which kind of looks like that because of the color of it with that Misty Moonlight and boho blue, kind of looks denim-y too. So I needed to have two patterns that went well together for this fun fold that we're going to be making. This is a fun fold that I learned from Debbie Peters years and years ago, and I always come back to it because I love it so much. So I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper because we are going to do some stamping for this. And I might have to stamp off, and I don't want to stamp on my wooden mat here. All right, so what we have, this is for our envelope. So I'll set that aside over here. If I forget, somebody remind me that I have to make the envelope. So my card base is going to be Misty Moonlight. And this is 4 1/4 by 11. Let me move it here so you can see it. And I scored it at 4 1/4, and I scored it at 8 1/2. Now, you do have to, like when you put this up in your scoring tool, I went just maybe a little bit longer than 4 let me think here. No, a little bit shorter than 4 1/4. I just like, if this is my line for 4 1/4, I went like right up to it. And then the 8 1/2 one, I went like a little bit like right up to the line. So the reason being is you're going to fold this and you want to fold this over the top. And if it's exactly the same and not just a little bit off, then this kind of buckles a little bit. So you do want to just be a little bit careful when you're scoring it so that that fits. Okay, we have some of this from the Gone Fishing, or I think that's the stamp set. I can't remember the name. Let's Go Fishing, I think, is the paper. This is 4 by 4, and I don't have to save these. I have all of this typed up. See, it helps when I don't have to work. I get a lot more done. The blog post is ready for me just to hit post afterwards. This is 4 inches by 2 1/4, and I wanted the lines to go vertically. I have two basic white that are 4 by 4, and that's going to go for when we open it. That's going to go on these two sections here. Now you could make this into a gift card holder. I did not. You could make this just a little bit smaller up here, and you could make this instead of 4 1/4. You could make it at 4 inches and at 8 inches, and you could add a little thing that you folded up to have a little gift card. You could also just add a little piece of paper over the top of this and just add tape on either side and on the bottom so that you could stick a gift card in there. I opted not to do the gift card version of this. From our punches, which are online exclusives, I have a 1 3/4 inch. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for sharing. This is basic white. And I have a 2 inch circle. That is the Misty Moonlight. All right. I have a 5/8 inch wide strip that I'm going to stamp my greeting on. And I have a scrap that I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping and blending on. All right, the stamp set that we're going to be using, look at this bird's eye view. So this I saw a lot for graduation cards this spring. I really didn't think that people needed graduation cards anymore. So we're going to make this into a birthday. It doesn't come with any greetings, just these birds, the books, the branches, the leaves, the balloon, the glasses that you can put on the birds. So it's a really, really cute set. I paired it with this sentiment set, Very Best Occasions. We're going to use this little happy birthday that's here. And then in that same font is sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. And we're going to use that on the inside. Thanks, Patty, for reminding people about the like button. I appreciate that. Okay, and thanks, Sarah, for sharing. So these are the two stamp sets that we're going to be using in this card. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the stamping and the coloring because I want to get all of that done, and then we can go ahead and put the card together. So this is going to be in the upper part of my card, so in this part when I open it, and then this one's going to be in the bottom part of the card. So I'm going to use a little bit of the Misty Moonlight ink. And I'm going to stamp the inside greeting. I've got lots of blends here, so I'm going to set these all out here. All right. Our inside is going to say, sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp that kind of up a little bit so that I have some room to write underneath. All right, on this little 5/8 inch wide strip, I'm going to stamp the happy birthday. Okay, that looks pretty good. I kept it longer so that if I needed to stamp it over again and try to get it straighter, if it wasn't very straight, that I would have another one. I think I like the first one better. So we'll just use that. Then that's all I need with the memento, or with the Misty Moonlight. In the memento, I am going to take these leaves and I'm just going to put a few leaves over here. And I'm going to put a few leaves down here. Okay, and then we are going to stamp our branch off to the side. And I'm going to stamp again some of those leaves off of the branch. Okay, and then I'm going to take my little bird and we're going to stamp him on that bridge. Isn't he cute? Oh, I need him one more. We're also going to stamp him on this little white circle here. Normally I would stamp and then punch, but he just barely fit on there, so it was pretty easy to put him on there. And then we're going to put some little glasses on our guy on the inside, because why not? I thought they were cute. Aren't those adorable? I just loved those. Okay, that's all the stamping we need to do. Now we have to do a little bit of blending. Let me get the stamps out of here. So I'm using the Misty Moonlight and I'm using the Boho Blue for my little bird. Let me go ahead and I have pumpkin pie here. I'm just going to color in. I'm just kind of making some little dots. around to color in his nose so I don't go too far out of the line. Yeah, Sarah, he is cute. I love him. Okay, in his little belly part, I'm going to do in the lighter color in his head. That's going to be the boho blue. So this is the light boho blue, and then I have to find the dark boho blue. So that's this one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, with the dark, just go over what the artist put for some of the detail on his kind of his belly here. So I'm going to go ahead and just trace over those lines that are there. And then I'm just going to blend it in with the light. Okay, so here is my light. And I'm just going to come in and blend this in. Patty Skeep is in here. She is like the best with coloring in images. She does a lot of coloring with blends, and her blending is so awesome all the time. I just love her cards when I get them in swaps and things like that. I am going to leave the part with his glasses white on this front or the inside here. Okay, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just go ahead and color this all in. I'm going to make sure that I don't get disconnected because when I was setting up, I got disconnected just once. So hopefully that's it. Last weekend I got disconnected. I think it was my mom calling. She was calling to let me know how Father Paul was doing during the day. And she kind of forgot that I had my live because she had so much other stuff going on at the time. She said, I watched you later. Okay, and then we're going to take the Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to do the same thing with the dark. I'm just going to go over these lines that are here. And just kind of follow that with the dark. And then I'm going to come back with the light Misty Moonlight, and I'm just going to blend that all in. Oh, the other thing that I started working on that I've been telling my parents since I turned 50, that was 5 years ago. I really have to get somewhere and get a will put together now that I'm like 50 years old. I need to start thinking about that. And I just haven't done it. I just haven't taken the time to do it. So I reached out to a family friend and he got back to me with some paperwork that I have to fill out and, who to call to schedule an appointment with him. So my goal is by the end of this summer, I'll have that done as well since I've been procrastinating on that just a little bit. Okay, let me get this back. All right, and then for the branch, I'm going to use the pecan pie. And again, I'm going to take the darker color and just kind of go around the outside of the branch. And just like in different areas, I was kind of picking that up. And then with the light, I'm just going to blend that all in. I usually use this finer tip, but I didn't pull the right one off. So we're just going to go with the fatter one. Okay, so there's our branch. And then our leaves, all of the leaves that we have, I'm going to do the exact same thing with Granny Apple Green. So I'm going to take the dark and just kind of go down, and you could even like color in a little bit more at the base of the leaf. Make sure I'm still live. All right, and then I'm going to color them in. I got to go back and do those other leaves too, I know. I'm going to take the brush tip, I think, and just kind of blend that together. So I get kind of a mix of the dark and the light. Everybody does this a little bit different. You might watch one demonstrator and they might say, color the whole thing in the lighter color, then outline it in the dark, and then go back over it again with the light. And some say, just do your dark and then do your light. Everybody tells you to do it a little bit different. This is just how I've always done it. Doesn't mean it's the right way or that how you do it. If you do it differently, it's the wrong way. It's just a matter of blending a couple of the colors just to give it a little bit of shading, is all you're trying to do. I'm going to quickly, on my scrap, I forgot to stamp one of those leaves there. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp one more trio of leaves on my scrap. Forgot about that. All of a sudden I caught that scrap out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, oh shoot, I was supposed to stamp on that. All right, and then we'll blend again the light. And I do have, based on the stamp sets that I chose with the animals, I do have quite a bit of coloring to do tonight, but the next one goes really fast. It doesn't have as much as this. And then the last one, there's just a couple of colors in it. So I was going to color some of it ahead of time, but I opted not to and doing it all live. So if you think it's boring to watch me color, I apologize. Okay, we're done with that. We are ready to go ahead and almost put this together. I'm just going to cut out these leaves, fussy cut them out. There are no dies. This is a standalone stamp set, which has, I don't know if you check Pinterest at all, but there have been a lot of cards out there, a lot of really, really cute cards out there using this stamp set. Like I said, a lot of graduation ones with just a congratulations on it, because there are no, like I said, there are no sentiments or greetings in that. Look at how quickly that was to cut out. You can also, I wanted to show you, I was kind of playing around, and you could also, this last night, you could also stamp the branch and stamp the leaves and cut the whole thing out. I thought about doing this, but I decided not to. But I still have my sample there in case I ever decide to use it at some point. Okay, putting this card together. The first thing that we have to do is on this front flap, we're going to attach, whoops, got disconnected, hang tight. Not sure why. I'm coming, just hang tight. Let's see, there we are, I'm back. I'm getting used to that. All right, so I'm going to attach the top flap layer, the DSP, to that section. And while you're there, you can also do the other one. It doesn't matter. That one has to be done before we do our punching. So I wanted to make sure that I did that before I bring my punch in. Okay. Let's see. I don't think I'm low of glue. Just didn't want to come out there for a second. All right, so this is 4x4. So you're leaving about 1/4 of an inch around both sides. Then what you need to do for this fun fold is we're going to take our 2-inch punch. Now, if you don't have the punch, because these are online exclusives, or if you got rid of yours after Stampin' Up! Discontinued them, you could also use any sort of a circular die as well. One thing to be aware of, so I cut mine, so this is 4 1/4. So, and this is 4 1/4. So the biggest I can be is 5 1/2 for it to fit into my envelope. So I have 4 1/4 and I'm using 2 inches. So that will add half of that. So you have to take half of the diameter. So it's going to add 1 inch to it. So it's going to be a total of 5 1/4. So the 2 3/8 punch would work as well if you wanted to do one that was a little bit bigger, because you would still, when that's on there, be at 5.5. You have to just stay under 5.5 or at 5.5. You do have to try to center this as best you can. So I'm looking for my score line, and I want it to be somewhat in the center of that circle as best I can get it. And that looks pretty good. Now, if you wanted to, you could measure and put like a little mark with a Sharpie there. I haven't done that with these punches. I did have that done with my old punches that I got rid of. And then these came back, so I got more of them. All right, so that's going to look like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little bird and I'm going to, I can put this punch away. I'm done with that. I am going to attach him. Maybe I just need to take a little pin out. It seems to come out once I get it going. Must just mean that it's close to the end. I don't even know when I started it. Okay, so that's going to go on there. And then this is going to be glued right onto there. So he sticks up, and then when I open this flap up, it kind of goes right through that circle. Okay, so I only have to put glue, and I'm going to put my glue actually on this card base so that I don't accidentally put it up too far on the back of here. And then I'm going to set this down in here. Make sure he's standing straight. And make sure I give that a good press so that it holds tight. And then it'll open up, and then that'll flip down. Isn't that cool? I learned this from Debbie Peters many, many years ago, but I still remember that fold. Okay, this I'm going to put in the corner here. So I'm going to trim this. I could bring my trimmer in, but I'm going to just trust myself to make a straight cut. I'm going to make a straight cut there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these leaves that I made, that I cut out, and I'm just going to attach them to kind of up in the corner here of this. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, and you could use a glue dot if you wanted to. Now it's coming out just fine, more than I need for this little spot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just attach that there just to bring those leaves into the front of this a little bit. I thought about putting this branch, but it was too big. See, this is why I cut out the branch. I'm like, well, no, that's not going to work because it's going to be in the way of that flap. So then I thought about making this flap just a little bit smaller, but I ended up just bringing the leaves in this way. Now I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of that to hold all of that in place and to raise that up just a little bit. I could have used a couple of larger dimensionals, but I grabbed my minis first, so we'll just use those. So that is just going to go like that for my greeting. I don't think I took the back off the dimensional here. All right, there we go. All right, and then we have to put our stuff on the inside. So again, this hole is here, so you don't want to put a whole bunch of glue on the back of this. So what I did was I went ahead, I want to make sure I don't go too far out to the sides, because if I go too far out to the sides, then I'm going to have glue oozing out. But I'm just going to go ahead and put that glue down there and center that. And then this little guy is going to come down here. You know what I did down here? Let me go ahead to carry on those leaves. Let's just add, it doesn't have to be this way, but I thought mine kind of looked cute that way, and I feel like it's missing something there. I'm just going to put some leaves there, and we'll throw some leaves like they're coming off the branch over there. And I'll quickly color those. That's my light. I have the dark. All right, and we'll do that, and then we'll color these in. Now I'm going a little bit fast and I got out of the line a little bit. So I just have to slow down. We're not in a hurry. Okay, so there, that just adds a little bit more of the leaves from up on the top down to the bottom. And then we'll just throw this on here so that we have an area to, we have our one greeting there, and then we can sign and sign it and wish a little greeting ourselves. So, okay, so this is going to fold in this way, and then this just comes right over the top of it. So they're going to flip it open it up. Now this is where I said if you wanted to, if I wanted to put this little bird down here, but if you wanted to, you could make this like a little place where you could put a gift card in there, and then you could just decorate that part on the top. So a couple of different ways that you can do it. I opted not to do the gift card, but I wanted to just point it out that you could do that. All right, let's go ahead and put some of this stuff away. Let's go ahead and put our envelope together so that we have a matching envelope for this. There we go. All right, I'm going to throw that in my holder. Maybe that'll help with keeping it so that it doesn't come out so fast. Give that a good press, and then we'll trim around the outside of it. I don't know about you, but do you find that sometimes you end up, and I don't know if it's because I'm doing it too fast or the distance that it is from me when I'm doing this because of having to stay on my camera, but I find that I always trim a little bit of the envelope with the paper, but it still looks fine. All right, so there is our card number 1. Whoops, with our animal. Looks like I bent my envelope a little bit. But there is our card number 1. You could also put some of those leaves on the front if you wanted to, but it goes into the envelope this way. We've got plenty of room here. So you could do just a little bit bigger circle if you wanted to. Yeah, and that is our fun fold number 1. Thanks to Debbie Peters, who taught me that years and years ago. And I have used it a couple of times since then. And I guess I put in my blog post that if you wanted to, you could make it so that the paper does all of the work. So you could have these be 2 fun designer series papers, and you could just put a greeting there. You wouldn't have to do something like this here. You could just put a greeting that fits right in there, and then do the same thing on the inside. Put some sort of a greeting or stamp the image on the inside. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this fold. All right, next, we're going to use this paper. We are not making out of space things. I don't even have that stamp set yet. I'm not going to lie to you that is probably not my taste of a stamp set. I'm more of a floral type person. But we're going to use this paper down here. I am casing something right from the catalog. And I'm looking to see where I put my catalog. I think I might have moved it into the other room to look something up. Oh, here it is. I had to do some online or virtual swaps, and I had to type up the instructions. So I'm going to show you, and let me look at the thing so I can find the page. So when I say case, what I mean that is copy and share everything. I think it said 57. Yep. Look at this little dreamers. Look at the elephant. I love the little sleeping cow. Isn't he cute? But I loved this card. And I wanted to show you how you can make this card right here. So that's what we're going to make. We're going to copy and share everything about that card right there. So it's going to be pinks. So it's probably going to be for a baby girl. All right. But you could find some other paper and you could easily make it for a baby boy as well. We're going to be using our stylish shapes. We're going to be using the circles in there. Let me get some of this out of here. Like I said, I have all the dimensions typed up, so I don't really need to keep them tonight. All right, we're using the little dreamers. We're going to use the little elephant, the congratulations on your new little one. and Little Baby Big Love we're going to use as well. Okay, so in here I have the card base, which is going to be thick white. Okay, 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25 to give us a standard size card. And then this is some of that star. What did I say it was? Oh, let's see. Where did I just throw the sheet? Oh, here it is. Stargazing paper. All right, and it has those little stars in it for the background. So this is 4.25 by 5.5, so it covers the full white. Now you could do this if you wanted to. You could follow it in bubble bath, and you could put a white sheet on the inside. I thought if I'm going to cover this up anyway, why don't I just make it white so that then I don't have to have a white layer for the inside. Okay, this bubble bath is 4 by 5.25. I am loving this shade of pink. I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but it's absolutely a wonderful shade of pink. I have a piece for my envelope, and then I have some scraps. Now, for the sake of time, I did end up stamping our little elephant, and I cut him out with the coordinating dies. I also stamped the little star with the rainbow, and I cut that out with the dies. And then the stars come in a trio. There's 2 of one size and 1 of another size. You can kind of see right here is the die that I cut out. But I stamped it 3 times and cut them out so that we have those as well. And I'm just going to leave those in there right now because we do have to bring our Big Shot, or not Big Shot, our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine onto my desk space. And it's going to get kind of lost if I do that. So I'm going to bring my machine up here. I'm going to show you how that layer with those peekaboo circles was made. We used to have a die that retired that cut those 3 circles. Actually, I think it might have been 4 circles that were in the die. And they did away with the die, but that doesn't mean that you can't still make cards. Look at this. I got brand new plates. Oh, I got them last week, and I'm so excited. All right, so we're going to use this. They're not going to stay new for long. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those stylish shapes, and I took the second smallest, okay, the second smallest, and I put that one down here just like they did in the video or in the picture. And then the next one I put here. Then I skipped one and I went to one that was a little bit bigger. Okay, now I do have to make sure that I have enough room here for my greeting to go. So I'm just going to, that looks pretty good where I have it spaced right now. And so I'm just going to put my top over the top of here and run this through. Oh, and there go my virgin plates. Okay, they're no longer going to be clean, but cleaner than the ones I had, and definitely flatter than the ones that I had. All right, now you can use these circles. Okay, I'm not going to use these for the card, but I'm for sure going to save those because who knows when I could use them again for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and put my dies back here. If you're wondering where I get these from, I get these from Stampin' Storage. Somebody asked me one time. It's stamp and then the letter N and then storage. And they do have a sale that's going on right now. So if you wanted to check it out, they sell these containers or the little envelopes as well as the magnets. I love them. They are a little pricey, but I love them for organization in my room. Okay, close that up. Get my plates out of here. This card is really not difficult at all. Okay, so I stamped the images already, so we don't have to stamp the images. So the only stamping that we have left, there should have been, here it is, a 7/8 inch wide strip for me to stamp the greeting. And I also am going to stamp a greeting on the inside. So let's get all the stamping done. Then we'll do some coloring, and then we'll put the whole thing together. All right, so our greeting on the outside, I'm basically copying that card exactly the way it is in the catalog. So I'm just going to stamp. I'm going to stand up so I don't have to put my head in your camera. Looks pretty good. All right, and then on the inside, I'm going to stamp little baby, big love, because that elephant would give a lot of love, right? That's a big. And then because there are stars on the outside, I decided I wanted just a few little stars on the inside as well. Oops, I got a little bit of a, not a halo, it's just a little dot. So I'm just going to leave that. All right, let's bring all of the things that I had die cut ahead of time. So our little elephant and our little rainbow with the star and our other stars. And we have these stars that we have to color. So with the elephant, I decided I wanted to use gray granite for him. I just love that color for animals that are gray. And again, I'm just going to kind of outline with the dark. I think this is the dark. Yep. I'm going to outline some of the things that the artist had marked. And I think I'm going to do the whole tail dark. And I kind of just go around the outside of the entire image. With the gray, or with the dark, I should say. And then we'll take the light and we'll come back in and we will blend all of that. So we'll kind of pull the ink from the outside into the center. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of color in a circular motion and kind of pull that ink that's there into the center. Can you hear Lila snoring, you guys? She's sleeping on her little bed over here and she is snoring. She just heard her name now, so she stopped. She probably woke up. Because in the middle of the night when she's doing it, I just yell her name. All right. I think I need a new gray granite. I wonder if my other side works better. But isn't he cute? Doesn't he look like so happy? I think, I don't know, something about him just looked really, really happy. All right. Then for the little star with the rainbow, we are going to go ahead and this is a light daffodil. And I'm going to color in the entire star with that. And then I'm going to take, this is the light lemon lolly, and I'm going to do the first with that. And then I have the, this is the light bubble bath. I'll do that next. Oh, she's snoring really loud right now. And then the light flirty flamingo. Okay. And then we're going to take all of these little stars and give me just a second here. I'm just going to take care of something here. Okay, so I'm going to take all of these little stars and get them out of here. And we're going to just color these again with that light daffodil. And there's a lot of them here. Normally they would be in like before I usually color them before I cut them out. So they'd be in a bigger cluster of stars for me to color together, but it's fine doing it individually as well. I just got to make sure they're not on top of each other. All right, and then I've got these in here that we're going to color in as well. And of course, when you've got stars, they need to twinkle a little bit, right? So we need to give them a little bit of Wink of Stella. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Wink of Stella and just kind of go over each of the stars so that they twinkle. And I know that you can't see this part, but it really does add a lot to these stars. They're just like, it's just adding a little bit of glitter to them so that they shine a little bit. All right, and that's all for those. And now we're ready to put this together. So I'm going to just slide this up here so that I have them when I need them. I'm going to take that designer paper, and this is cut so that it covers the entire front. So none of the white is going to show through this at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add my liquid glue. I think hanging or putting it upside down has really helped. It seems to be coming out better. Okay, and I just start and line it up at the bottom, or you could line it up at the fold and then press it all the way down. Okay, and then we have this layer that comes next, and we're going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals for this. So I'm going to put some in a whole bunch of places because I don't want it to sag. I don't want you to be able to see them through the holes at all, but I don't want it to be kind of saggy in the center. So I'm going to make sure that I add enough of them all the way around here so that it secures it really well. And I think I'm going to do one down here as well. All right, anyone have the Brewer game on and have the score of the Brewer game? Oh, last night was just awful. The first inning, anyway, was terrible. I almost turned it off, but I sat and watched the whole thing. I am a huge Brewer fan. Then I also bought a new book and I started reading that yesterday and I read a little bit today. It's I don't know if any of you know Tim Russert. He was on NBC News Meet the Press. I loved him when he was on. My mom always says I don't know who to vote for anymore because Tim Russert isn't alive. But his son wrote a book about grieving his father and I started reading it and it's really good so far. I love true stories. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave an equal border around the whole thing. All right. All right, I hid some comments and I hope that I didn't hide all of you now. Okay, so next I'm going to take the little elephant and he's going to go right in here, but I want his feet to be a little bit on the outside of the circle. So I don't want to put a dimensional down there. I'm going to put it on the rest of his body. All right, so let me just see. I don't know if anybody's trying to comment because I haven't been able to get any comments since okay. If you are commenting and I'm not saying anything back, I'm not seeing them. So just so you know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put these on here. And we're just going to have him go like that. Isn't he cute or she cute? Whatever. All right, then we're going to take our little star with the rainbow, and I don't think you can see that glitter on there. Bottom of the first, 1-0 Arizona. Okay, that's not too bad. Not as bad as last night. All right, so I'm just going to put a dimensional down here, and then I'm going to put a glue dot here because that's going to be on the pink part. So I don't want to have it be unlevel. So I want to make sure that since this pink part is raised up, anything that I put on the pink is going to have just like a glue dot or a little dab of glue. And anything I put on the DSP is going to have a dimensional. Okay, so this had a little glue dot and that had a dimensional. All right, I'm going to take one of the bigger, I'm going to take all of the bigger stars. There should be 3 of them. And I'm going to put, they're not that much bigger, just a little bit. I'm going to put a tiny dimensional in the center of all of them. Yes, all of my big stars are on the designer paper. So I'm going to put one of them right here. And I'm going to put one of them in here with this. And I put one of them kind of down here. Okay, so those are my big stars. And then these littler stars are left over. And with those, I'm just going to put, you could put a dab of glue. I found just putting a glue dot on them worked just as well. So I'm going to put one here. I'm kind of putting it on the edge, so the glue dot is kind of on the tip of that. I'm going to put one over by this other star. I have to remember that I have to keep this open because my greeting's going to go there. And then I wanted to put an odd number in here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to put one over here. And then I'm going to put one over here. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of stars. I've got my little elephant. Now I'm going to take this greeting and all I'm going to do is kind of cut on a slant. And it's going to go right in here. But before I put that down, I want to take some of this. This comes with gold and silver. It's like a little trim ribbon. Oh my gosh, can you hear Lila snoring? You have to almost be able to hear her. She's really going at it. Now, I didn't want to tie it in an actual bow because then the knot would be way too bulky. So what I did was I like held it where it would be in a bow. And I'm just going to flip it over. I want it to go this way. And I'm just going to take a little Scotch tape. I'm going to put a little Scotch tape there to hold it in place. And then I will trim that. It's kind of the same thing that I did last week where I just kind of weaved back and forth with the ribbon. Same kind of deal. You just kind of make it into a bow and then tape it in place. So you don't have that big bulky knot behind it that gets in the way and makes everything so it's unlevel. All right, so I'm going to take these dimensionals off. This is just going to go right about there. I get this in a little bit. I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller here. And we'll cut this just a little bit shorter. All right, and then we've got some of our pastel adhesive sequins, which was the prize that I think, let's see who won that. Linda won that tonight. And I'm just going to take, let's see, I'll take one of the bigger ones and set it maybe up there. And then we'll throw a little one down here. And we'll throw another little one right there. So there is that little card that I cased right from the catalog. Again, cased stands for copy and share everything. So I copied it exactly the way it was and shared it with you. All right, so that is our little baby card that is using the little dreamers, and we've got elephants. I don't know if Lisa Nealon's on here or not, but Lisa, we were talking. She loves this little sleeping cow, and we were talking about how cute that is as well. And in the catalog, they have the sleeping cow as a little baby boy card, and so that would be something to try next time, probably when I use this. So I don't have. There's a couple of teachers at school that have had babies this last year, and I've had to make a couple of baby cards, but my friends are way beyond that. They're ready to start grandparents. So we don't. I don't have like. Maybe my nieces will soon start. Well, only one of them's married, so my nephew's getting married this fall, and then hopefully my other niece will get engaged maybe sometime soon. I feel bad for her boyfriend because every time they get together with people, he's constantly saying, like, oh, when are you going to ask her to marry you and stuff. So a lot of pressure on him. So we've all kind of just backed off. We're like, oh, maybe that's too much pressure. Oh, thanks, Mary. Yeah, I'm loving the little animals. It was something different. I used so many flowers, floral images, and we just did the masculine cards. And I thought, oh, let's do something a little bit different this time. So I pulled out a whole bunch of stamp sets that had animals. So there's our little matching card or envelope to go with our card. Okay, so that was card number 2. Let me just get some of this cleaned up here. I have a couple of stars left over. I had some from last night as well, because when you cut 3 of them, you actually get 9, and I only put 7, because we always got to put an odd number on the card. All right, next card we are going to use, and I'm still using designer paper that I picked all the designer paper that's going to be on sale yet, but that not necessarily has to go with the bundle that it comes with. So this is Glorious Gingham, and it doesn't really have a bundle. I was going to use this Blueberry Bushel because I loved that, but we already did a blue card with our first one, and this was the last card that I made. So I decided to use this Pecan Pie instead. I thought about the Berry Burst, but I settled on the Pecan Pie. So this could be a masculine card if you wanted it to be. And this is going to be another fun fold. So we're going to be using, hey, Chuck. So if any of you have been around Stampin' Up! For a while, you know that there was a Hey Chick not too long ago. I think it retired not this last time, but the time before. So this is like a little follow-up to that with Chuck the Rooster. All right, so this is the stamp set we're going to be using. This does have some really fun dies. I don't have a magnetic plate in here yet. I took a couple of the dies out, but there's like this weather vane. There's a little sun type thing that we're going to be using. So anyhow, I wanted to use this fun card for my last animal card. All right, I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in here because I know that sometimes if you don't see somebody cut a fun fold and see how it's folded and stuff, it's difficult to tell. So this piece is 5.5 by 10.25. Okay. It says that on the 10.5 inch side, I have to score at 1.5, 3, 4.5, and 6. So every 1.5 inches until I get to 6. So it's going to be at 1.5. And my scoring blade again is the lighter gray one. Okay, so I'm bringing this up here. So 1.5, and then 3. Hi, Linda. And then 4.5. And then 6. Okay, so those are our score lines. So this is going to be our card, like our basic card, and then we're just going to do like an accordion fold back and forth with it. So it's going to have like this little accordion fold kind of on the side. I saw this fold from Connie Stewart from Simply Simple Stamping. Then what I'm going to do is on the 5.5 inch side, I'm going to line it up at 1 inch. I'm going to lay this flat, so I probably shouldn't have folded it first. I'm going to bring my blade and I'm going to line it up where that first 1.5 inch score line is. And I'm going to cut it until I get to the 6 inch one. Then I'm going to pick it up. Then I'm going to line the other side up at 1 inch. And I'm going to cut it from the, stand up to see this, from the 1.5. So now my 1.5 inches on the top here. And I'm going to cut it till I get to the 6. Now there is a little line here on the side so that I can see if I'm lined up and when I get to that 6 inch spot. Okay, I'm going to leave my trimmer here and then we'll fold this because we're also going to cut the paper. So this paper comes in 6x6. So if you have 6x6, you want to maximize this paper so you can get everything that you need out of one piece. And that's what I did. So it says that I first am going to cut 3 strips at 1.25 inch. So here's 1.25. So I'm going to cut 1, 2, and I don't have this memorized, so I have to look at my directions, and 3. Okay, and then it says 2.5 inches will be left. So if I measure this, whoops, it should be 2.25. 1.25. I might have cut, let me look at this here quick. Nope, that's right. 1.25, 1.25, and 1.25. So each of these would be 3 3/4, which would be 2.25 left. I put 2.5, it should be 2.25. I will change that on my directions. Okay, so 2.25 is left. This piece I'm going to cut at 5.25. Okay, this right here, scrap. All right, then it says to cut one of the 1.25 strips at 5.25. So I'm going to cut this one at 5.25. This is scrap. Then it says that cut the other 2 1.25 strips at 3/4 inch 3 times and then at 3.25. So I'm going to put these together. You can cut these together. And I'm going to line it up at 3/4 on this side. And I'm going to cut, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Okay, so those are my 3 that are 3/4, and then once at 3.25. So I'm going to go 3.25 on this side, and that is scrap. Okay, I will have all these directions. They're all going to be listed for you in a document. So those are the pieces that I need, and we are finished with our cutting and our scoring for this one. So I will have all of this typed up. I actually have it all typed up. I will make that one change where I had something wrong. Okay, the other pieces that we will need a 2.5 by 3.25. I'm going to probably go on this side. I don't know what this is on there. Oh, that looks like it might be some ink of some sort. I don't think I can get that off. Good thing there's 2 sides. We'll just use that side of the paper. And then this is 8 by 5.25, and I scored it at 4. And when Connie did it, she had her card opening this way. I did it that way, and it just kind of seemed awkward to me. So on this one, I'm going to have it open this way, and I'm going to have you see which way you like better. So we'll have 2 different options for this. All right, we have a scrap of Lemon Lolly. And with that scrap of Lemon Lolly, we are going to use this die right here to cut out a little sun. And that looks like this. Isn't that cool? All right, so we're going to use that. I have that done already through the magic of TV. I have a scrap of white, and on that scrap of white, um, we were going to stamp this little rooster. Isn't he cute? And the birthday cake. I already stamped those and I cut those out with the dies so that you don't have to watch me do that. We do have to color them, and I have to grab a couple of colors from our first card. Okay, so I want that pecan pie. We're also going to bring in some blends, other blends. So we've got the crumb cake, and I have a little balmy blue and a little bit of real red there. Now, before we do that, we do want to stamp on the inside of our card. So I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to stamp this crazy little rooster like this. Isn't he cute? He's got like his beak wide open here. I'm going to stamp again in Memento ink because I'm going to be coloring this. I'm just going to stamp him. Wait. Yeah, I'm opening it up this opposite way. Okay, I'm sorry if my head was in there. And then I'm going to use a little of the pecan pie to put a greeting on the inside. And that greeting is, "You rule the roost." So if the front is going to say, "It's your birthday, you rule the roost." Because don't you on your birthday, right? Whatever you want, you can have. It's your birthday. All right. And on the front, I'm going to, in that pecan pie, I'm going to do, "It's your birthday." Okay, and that's all I have left to do for stamping. So I'm going to close these up. I had stamped those other ones so I could cut them earlier. And let's do some coloring, and then we will put this all together. All right, so for this little rooster, I decided that his body I was going to do in the light crumb cake. So I'm going to go ahead, and actually I think I wanted to use the thicker brush because it was just a little bit darker. Sometimes the thicker and the thinner ends can be just off a little bit with color. And maybe it's because one is more worn out than the other on my, because I've used it more. And then this little wing here. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could come in. I forgot that I did do the dark crumb cake on just these little lines here. Okay, I'm going to kind of follow because I had figured out what was what. And then we're going to do the same thing here. So the dark, this is the light, this is the dark, is just going to be kind of some of these dots here. And then the light is going to be the rest of his body. Okay, and I just want to see what else that's all I colored in that color. Okay, the orange pumpkin pie, I should say, is for his beak, which is wide open here. Okay, and also right here. And then that, I don't know what that's called. I always call it a gobbler. That little, I'm going to use real red here for that. And I did that over here. Okay, and then for the rest of him, I'm going to use the pecan pie. So I'm going to use a little bit of dark. So I'm going to start with the dark again. And this time, instead of doing like an outline, I just decided like where his feathers were, I was just going to do darker on the bottom and then go up into the feather a little bit and then blend it all in with the lighter. So here's my lighter. So I've got like kind of the two tones. Now you could go all wild and you could do a lot of fun colors. So like I said, I thought about doing the berry burst. I thought about doing the blueberry bushel. Those were some colors that I thought about from that gingham. But I kind of decided that I wanted to do this more neutral color just because it was different than any of the other cards. We had a bright, well, not a bright pink, but we had used something that had the berry burst in it with those stars. And we had the blue card for the first one. So I thought, let's try a different color that we haven't done here. Okay, so he gets colored actually pretty fast. And then let's go ahead and do that same thing here. I'm going to do this is going to be a chocolate cake. So I'm going to have the top be the brown. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to sort of color up a little bit into the feathers and even maybe do a couple of lines and do the same thing there. And then we'll take the light and we will blend it with the light. I've seen a lot of really, really cute cards, some fun cards with this stamp set. So honestly, it wasn't in my first order. The Little Dreamers was in my first order. The other two were in orders that I received later, and it was because I had seen other cards that I just absolutely loved that I was like, oh, I want to get that stamp set because I could see a lot of uses for that. So that is why I'm just now pulling some of these out because I haven't had time. I've worked so hard with the bundles that I really haven't had the time to use some of these individual stamp sets or these individual, I should say I've worked with the suites of products. All right, and then I'm going to use the Balmy Blue. This is the dark Balmy Blue, and I'm just going to color in the cake in blue. So there's just a pop of another color. And then I'm going to get that Daffodil Delight out again for the candle. And just like we did with the stars, we're going to use, whoops, sorry about that. I'm going to use a little bit of Wink of Stella on here to light that up a little bit. All right, I think we are ready to put this card together. All right, let's look at how this goes. So this folds in half. We said that this went back and forth, but what we're going to do is right here on this fold line, we're going to pull that out so that it pops out like that. Okay, so it's the second score line in. We're going to pull that out, and then this will layer really nicely on there. Okay, this card, now when Connie did it, she attached it this way and had it open that way. I kind of felt that it seemed more natural since this card already opened this way to have the other one open the opposite way. So I designed mine this. I'll show you the one that I did that's like this, that opens the other way. You can kind of see what you like better. All right, so before I attach this, actually I can attach it right away. You know what? No, I'm not going to, just in case I have to do a little trimming. All right, so this bigger piece right here is going to go along there. So I just have to set this so that there's about an equal amount of white here and an equal amount of white there. So once I see that I have enough to go top and bottom and I don't have to trim any, I think I am going to put this down on the card itself right away. Sometimes if you don't get it like right at 5 1/4, there's just a little bit that you have to trim off. And so I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have to trim anything off. Okay, and I didn't use my bone folder at all here. Whoops, I got a couple of sponge daubers. Right, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to get all of these, burnish these a little bit so they lay a little bit flatter for me. Okay, whoops, that's going to be covered. I don't know where I got ink, but I got ink somewhere. But this will be covered there. Okay, so this again is going to go in here, and I want it so that I have about the same amount of white on either side. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to use this side for this. We're going to use the other side for some of the other ones, but for this one, I'm going to use the smaller gingham. Okay, so I'm going to kind of stick this in here, kind of get it so that I have an even amount of white on either side, and then press that down. I'm going to use that same gingham plaid on the front here. So that's my long piece. And I'm going to use that same one on these two pieces right here. One. And two. And then I'm going to flip it and use that bigger. Oh, thanks, Mary. Yeah, this is a really easy fun fold. There's not, I mean, it seems like the cutting and scoring would be hard, but it's really not. It's just two cuts and a couple of score lines. So, all right, so these I'm going to glue on this side and flip over. So we're going to have 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. And if you didn't have 6x6 paper and you're wanting to do this with some 12x12, there might be some easier ways, but it might just be easy to cut it into a 6x6. You saw the little bit. I mean, I had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces left over, and that was it. So you really do almost use an entire 6x6 piece. So you could just cut your 12x12 paper into 6x6. But what I liked about this was that sometimes when you have 6x6, I feel like because you cut something in 4 inches, that leaves you with just 2 inches left over when you're doing a layer. And then I can't get multiple, like if I have 12x12, there's 3 sections of 4 inch that I can get. But in a 6 inch, I can only get a 4 and a 2 inch wide. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Just maybe I'm just talking to myself. Okay, so isn't that cool how that looks? Okay, so this is going to fold in like this. Now this is going to come on here, but before we do that and add our little rooster and cake to it, what I wanted to do was just kind of tuck this behind there, because if I went like this, it kind of looks silly that it's like, I don't know, like you can see where it cuts off. So I thought it looked better coming up from behind this layer. So I kind of centered it as best I could, flipped it over. That's 2.5 by 3 1/4, in case you didn't know. And then I used some Scotch tape and just Scotch taped it down there. Okay, and then that is just going to be glued onto there. So that little sun is coming up there when we go ahead and open it. All right, so now I can go ahead and add glue to the back of this. and center that as best I can. And then the rest of it is just going to go on dimensionals. So I'm going to throw a couple of tiny mini dimensionals on my birthday cake. And I can put some bigger ones on a chuck. And go ahead and take these off. And we'll set him up right there. And then the little birthday cake right next to him. All right, it's your birthday. Whoops. And then we open it up this way. You rule the roost. All right. So I thought that was kind of fun how I did it. Now, this is the way that it was in the video that I watched Connie do. This is what she did. So it opened this way, and then you opened that way. I just kind of felt like it felt maybe a little bit more natural to open up this way and then flip this the opposite way. Whoops, I keep getting out of the thing. What do you think? Do you think it's more natural, open, open, or is it more natural to go open and then open this the same way that you open normal cards? You know what? I didn't put any bling on here. Let's see what we can find. Let me get something out of my, let's see. These are always the metallic, oh, I just tripped on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and woke Lila up. Let's see. I don't know where I put my take your pick. Oh, here it is. Take your pick tool. We can do maybe there and there, and we'll do maybe a big one up there. Okay, or maybe I should do two. Let's do two on the bottom and one up on top. Just because that sun is up there already. Okay, so that way and this way, or open it up. And I have right side. I like it on the right side. Thanks, Karen. Like your way. So, okay, good. All right, a couple people like it this way. I just felt like it seemed a little bit more, I don't know if I want to say natural, because there was already an opening one way to then have it open the opposite way instead of, whoops, I keep going out of the camera. All right, so we have to make ourselves a little envelope here. Let's use this bigger plaid on the outside. And we'll go ahead and throw a little bit of glue on here. Give that a good press. And I'll trim. Nothing real fancy. Last week I at least had one envelope that wasn't just designer paper. It had something different on it. Today we're just doing designer paper for all of them. All right, so we have, let's see, this is the one I just made with you because it opens the opposite way. So there's our first, or our third card, our little rooster birthday card. So that's animal number 1. And then animal number 2 is our little elephant birthday card that was cased right from the catalog. And then animal number 3 is the little bird in bird's eye view with the little fun fold that opens up into, voila, fun little bird on a branch. So lots of coloring this week because of the images that we have with the animals. But how fun is that? I love to color. So this was right up my alley with these little animals. I thought these were so fun to make. So different than always making some flowers stuff. So I had to challenge myself a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. So all right, I'm back. All right, thanks for tuning in. I know I said I wasn't going to be here today, but I'm so glad that I was able to be here and do this. I will be back again next week. A reminder, free shipping tomorrow. So if there's anything you needed, if you saw any of these stamp sets and you're like, I have to have that stamp set or I have to have that bundle, it's so cute. Tomorrow would be the time to get it. Or if you are a paper pumpkin person or you've been thinking about it, now would be the time as well. Yeah. Hey Chuck is my favorite too. I loved it. So yeah, I had a lot of fun making these today. Like I said, I will be back next Tuesday and then the following Tuesday, I promise I'm not going to be here on the 4th of July. I am going to be, I said to my mom, I'm going up north on June 30th, I think is the Friday. And or is Friday let me think. Friday is yeah, Friday's no, yeah, 27. Let me think. The 9th was, so if I add 21, yeah, that would be 30. So the 30th, I'm going up and I'm not coming home until the 10th. And guess what? When I come home, Kathy Miller is going to be our guest artist. We are spending that Tuesday together to do some planning for our classes next year. And she has agreed to be a guest artist. So we decided that I'm going to do a card and she's going to do a card and we're going to do a card together that we create that day. So we can't wait to be with you. That's going to be in July. So you'll have to make sure that you're around for that or that you tune in afterwards. For those of you that know Kathy, she's a wonderful stamper. So anyhow, I am going to let you go. I'm going to go see if the Brewers are doing any better than they did last night. And I'm going to grab something for dinner. And I will be back again next week. If you have any special requests, let me know. Because sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to do. So animals came to me this time. Maybe I'll have to do all flowers next time since I didn't do any flowers this time. Or maybe we'll have to do something like a one sheet wonder again or something like that. So let me know if you have any ideas. Thanks again for tuning in and have a wonderful week. I hope you can find some time to be creative. It's perfect to sit inside a little bit at night when it's this hot and stuffy. I need to take that one for a walk. We went this morning for an hour or for a mile, but that's not enough for her. So I've got to take her tonight. We'll probably go another mile or mile and a half. So anyhow, you have a great week.